Hi, this is Courtney. I'm here with my horse Bourbon, who is the patient in the Michelle method. And we're just here to talk about our journey with Michelle and doing her program. So I just want to start off by talking about my experiences when I signed up for the program and how I was feeling. When I signed up for the Michelle method, I was feeling excited, a little bit unsure of what the results might be. He is turning 24 at some point this year. I'm not sure when his birthday is, but with a 24-year-old, you just never know how much muscle you're going to be able to build. So I was a little bit unsure of that. We've tried so many things in the past that, you know, this was just another thing that I was throwing my money at and wasn't sure if it was going to work. A lot of things that we had tried in the past maybe helped a little bit, but didn't really fix the issues I was looking to fix. So I definitely went into it with a little bit of uncertainty, but I was also excited by the idea of Michelle, knowing that she is a human physical therapist and she's also certified in equine rehabilitation, which gives her a unique ability to help horses. I was a little bit excited to have that angle for the first time. The month prior signing up to the Michelle method, I was doing groundwork and I saw a huge improvement when I just took the saddle off of him. The amount of top line that he developed in that time was just amazing to me, and it motivated me to want to sign up for something like this with somebody who actually knows what they're doing, so it's not just sort of blindly choosing exercises that might help. I wanted somebody with the knowledge who could step in and say, okay, this is where his weaknesses are, this is where he needs to improve. Overall, my experience with the Michelle method was incredible. Bourbon ended up being a lot happier and he was excited to work. He liked doing the exercises, even though they were targeted to be tough for him. It was always within his limit of what he was able to do, and that just gave him the confidence that he needed when he was doing work, that I was never going to ask anything more of him than he was capable of doing or would cause any pain. So any anxiety that he had about work, it just went away. And I didn't realize how checked out of his work he had gotten prior to doing the program until I saw him flourish when working in this program. As far as working with Michelle, she's incredible. She is by your side the whole time to be emotional support, provide knowledge, anything that you need, she's there. You can always chat with her. But she was always able to respond within 24 hours and provide very knowledgeable feedback. You can send videos of the exercises you're doing at any time to say, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Am I massaging in the right place? Am I asking him the right things? She's there to guide you through the whole thing. So even though it's virtual, it's very easy to understand. She's holding your hand the whole way, and she's very supportive and positive. Some of the challenges and issues that Bourbon was facing before we started the program seemed like it originated from his front end. He would frequently trip, particularly when he was being ridden, and we had looked into with the vet, is this neurological, is this lameness? We had done so many things the year prior to figure out what was causing the tripping, and the answer was still inconclusive. So I remember I reached a point with my vet, we could inject every joint in his body, and there's going to come a point where even still it's not going to address the weaknesses that he has, but weaknesses also create incorrect movement patterns, which will down the road lead to lamenesses. And that's kind of what he ended up being, was just years in the making of incorrect movement patterns that were very subtle and just gradually built up into something that I could no longer not see. So I said, you know, I need to do something more than the standard vet care. I need to go above and beyond for him. I had already had him doing monthly body work and chiro, and I knew that he had some weaknesses that needed to be addressed, particularly stemming from what was actually his left hind. So the hind end was the primary cause. And of course, that's not what you see when the secondary is what you end up seeing on the front end of how he's been compensating for so long. So the front end lameness was kind of masking the real issue that originated from his hind end. So a lot of our focus was on strengthening that left hind so that we can correct his movement patterns and he can be a happier, healthier, more comfortable horse going forward. This program was exactly what we needed. I'm certain because of this program that I have not only extended his career, but I have extended his life because I've made him more comfortable. I mean, he has not shown any resistance to being able to progress further. He just continues to get better each and every day, and it continues to motivate me. Something that he's always had since I got him was a little bit of a sway back, so that also contributed to the challenges that we had facing this program. Building a top line and bringing him up off of his forehand so he engages his hind end, uses his core, uses his thoracic sling, which he really needed to develop in order to get off of his forehand. That's been one of our main focuses as well, is the core strength, the thoracic sling, everything that goes into that, to just getting him to lift up, engage the hind end, and stop putting so much stress on his front end. Since starting this program, I have seen his top line come up a lot. He's filled out in all the right areas. He just looks bigger, and not in a fat way, in a muscular way. And he has softer musculature under his neck here because he was compensating for so long on his forehand that his brachiocephalicus was just way overdeveloped and very tense. And in the Michelle method, that's another thing that she does, is she goes at it from all angles. She doesn't just address the weaknesses, she addresses the tension. You get massages prescribed as part of your exercises, and we spent a lot of time working on the tension in his neck, particularly in the brachiocephalicus and his pectoral muscles and his back. I mean, we massaged anything and everything that he needed. And as a result, now that he's carrying himself a little bit better, he's not feeling like he has to compensate so much. This has softened up a lot. I'm also noticing that now that he's getting off of his forehand more, he's tripping less. And now that he's lifting up and he's not putting as much stress on those joints, it's a lot easier for his front end to carry that load. It's not overwhelmed, and he can actually get his foot out in front of him without getting it caught in the dirt. So the tripping has reduced significantly. He still has a lot to work on with his left hind, but I have seen him start to use it more. He's more willing to engage his hind end. But that is something we are still going to work on beyond the 16 weeks in this program, because again, that was years in the making. It's going to take longer than 16 weeks to get that to where it should be. My biggest takeaway from working together with Michelle is that you have to look at every angle. You have to look at saddle fit, you have to look at nutrition. So this program helped me understand a little bit more how to empathize and just take a step back. And you know, I felt like I was already pretty good at doing that, but doing this program made me realize that I could do even better with that, and just take the time to be with him and understand him and look for the signs of when he's telling me this is too much, and listen to it. He never pins his ears, he's such a sweet boy, but any sort of signal that he might give me that, hey, this is a little bit uncomfortable, or I'm getting a little bit frustrated in this, I'm very in tune to. And I think that also just comes naturally from doing groundwork with your horse. There's something about being on the ground and being face to face with them that helps you understand them a little bit better. To someone considering enrolling in this program, I would say do it. Without a doubt, do it. I don't think there is a single horse on this planet that could not benefit. If your horse is retired from riding, they definitely have weaknesses that can help them, that Michelle can help them address so that they can move comfortably in their retirement. And if they are in work, they are bound to have some sort of problem, some sort of compensation pattern that is going to snowball, and eventually maybe you'll see it in their old age, and at that point it's going to be really hard to reverse. It's possible. He is proof of that. It's possible. But the earlier you start with the Michelle method and try to get correct movement patterns, the better. So you're doing less damage on their joints and their mental health as well. You know, that you get a horse that really enjoys working when you're not asking too much of them or asking something that hurts, because they are very stoic creatures. They also really like to please their humans. So if you're trying to play the long game and you're trying to make your horse last in his career, his or her career, as long as possible, you definitely want to do this method. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely am I to recommend this program to somebody? I would say 11, because I already have recommended it to numerous people. I believe one person did end up signing up for the program, and I'm so excited for them because I know what is to come.